They put the world in a tin can, black market contraband, and it hurt just a little bit.
Hi, back again. As you can see from last time, I did actually forget to mention that the wings aren't actually glued in, they're just clipped in. Now, if I just pop them out for a second here, I want to show you something. When I was looking at it last time, I had rather a big gap down one side, and the other one, it was big, but it wasn't as big. What I found was that if I put this knife against the edge of that, I had a hollow in the middle. What it actually was this edge here come up and then went back in down the face here. It was like a it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to push the wing out. And when I looked at the wing section here, it was the same on this side here. It had a lip on this side here. It just sort of curved up like a hockey stick on the ends. It wasn't that noticeable until I put a knife on the end, on the back of it, and saw there was a gap. When I sanded those down, which I did here and here as well, and the wing root I did. Sorry, I'm waffling on a bit now. I'm trying to put this back together again. What I ended up with is a joint. This is getting harder and harder to put together. There we go. There we go. It just clips straight in there, and this is the worst gap of the lot, just here, where the wings join the front cowling. That's not too bad though. Now I've done that in there, I've got virtually no gap in the wing root. Nice fit. I was just thinking, I was watching the 72 builds of similar to this, where you've got a whole wing section and the fuselage as well as in one piece. And when they put them together, they were putting massive amounts of fillet down here. Now I'm wondering if it's the same problem with them. The inside wing roots have got that little lip on either side, pushing them out slightly, giving you a much bigger gap. I wonder if you fold them down a bit, the wings would go in there and you would lose that gap, so you wouldn't have to have so much filler in it. If anybody does one, let me know, just see if I'm right. But this one, they're perfect joints down now. I've done that. I've still got the tail planes to put on, and I've sanded down the back end now, and I've got the little air scoop here at the back. Well, it's not a scoop, it's the outlet. I had the mould line going right the way through there, and it was bad, so I filled it, but getting in there was a trouble. So what I did was, where is it? What have I done with it? Typical, doesn't matter. I took a skinny stick and cut it down and got that into there, but I had to cut the end off at an angle. I'll show you with this one here. As you can see, I cut it off quite an angle, got in there and sanded that down. I then done it with a sponge as well. Here's a sponge, as you can see. I got in there, just sanded that off, and then I went in with a polishing stick with the green and white side. It's an old polishing stick, but I chopped it off down to a narrow stick, so I've got a polishing one to go in here and polish this up. At the same time, I took the wings off, and I've done the inside scoop here, the top of the scoop, and the back end here has all been sanded and polished with a joint, so I should have a perfect joint when I finish there. This one here, there's a bit of a gap there. I don't know how much of a gap until I finish, until I glued it in. See how much gap's left there. I might have to fill it, but it still looks a bit off this side and close this side. And I did sand this joint just here as well, so that if there was a little lip on the end of that, pushing it out, making a big joint there, because this is always a big joint. Most models have a very big bad joint at this point here. I say most models, not all of them, but most of them that I've actually done, I've had a bad joint just here. The other thing is the wings. This one's glued up now with the guns in. I'll use metal. I'll use some brass rod, cut down, and I've super glued it in for the cannons. I've got to do this wing here yet. That's why it's not glued down. It's almost ready for its top coat. I've just got to do sanding on the canopy. There was a big step there, that's why it's been covered up and filler put in there. And there was 2 holes, one this side and one this side. It's where the canopy goes in and then comes and twists down onto it. They have to have a gap here so it clears the corner of the windscreen. Unfortunately, as I'm trying to do the best I can with this particular model, I've got to fill them. So I've covered up the canopy, filled it, make sure I put the back canopy on, make sure it's all in the correct position. I've taped it down, filled it. Now I've just got to wait for the sanding. And I waffled on a little bit too long there, but never mind. I think you'll get the idea. These aren't quite finished yet for the undercarriage. You can see that I've done the photo etch on the undercarriage. I have now sprayed that silver as well. I have a few extra bits to go on the undercarriage here. I have a nameplate to go on the undercarriage just below that piece of photo etch there. So I had to paint this silver before proceeding. I've done it on both of them. I've also done the fuel tank. There's not much on there, there's just that badge on the front and the pipework up there. I've got to paint this yet. Well, there's a photo etch on it as well. I have sprayed the silver already as well, both tanks, and they're done now. The last item I've done is the 2 doors. Now in this kit they're in the open position. I've seen some P-51s coming into land with the real things and the doors are closed, and yet I've seen some on the field, they're standing there with the doors open. So they're both ways. I've had to do the silver on the inside of the doors, and I've painted the chrome oxide on the outside of it as well. I've also done this in the wheel wells, as you've seen. But I had to get this part finished. This is ready to fit in. Whichever way round they go. Which way round do they go? That way round. It's a nice fit into the wheel well, and it just pops in there. A little bit of glue and that'll be great. That's as far as I've got so far. Enjoyed it so far. I've still got this wing to do. I've still got this wing to do and glue up. I'm going to get on with that today. I'm going to let that dry off and probably do that tonight when it's really dry. As you can see, I've blackened the P-51. I've given it not quite the high gloss finish. I could do another coats and put a very high gloss finish on this, actually finish it in a chrome finish if I wanted to, but I don't want that. The aircraft was bare metal and I needed dull aluminium. Unfortunately I bought the wrong one. I bought polished aluminium, but if I give it a heavier coat than just light sprays, it should do the job. And what I was thinking was I may be able to use both the chrome and the polished aluminium on different panels to give me that different metal effect. I'm going to go tomorrow, as soon as this is, you know, I'm going to leave it overnight for this to harden off. of what I've done, and hopefully I can get it done tomorrow.
They put the world in a tin can, black market contraband, and it hurt just a little bit when they sliced and packaged it